President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be here with you today. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. I must tell you it's a privilege for me, also for my delegation, to visit your beautiful country. As we know, relations between Switzerland and Kenya are very good, and they have also a long tradition. Switzerland was one of the first countries to recognize the Republic of Kenya as an independent state in 1963. And the aim of my visit here today is to find ways of making better use of our political and economic potential and to further deepen relations. There is already a tangible expression of this will on Switzerland's part with the new embassy building inaugurated in February. Kenya also offers very promising technology developments and opportunities for investors, and I would like to congratulate your country for having taken a series of initiatives making it easier to invest and to do business here. And as a very positive effect, we have seen that the volume of bilateral trade between our countries has doubled since 2005. But we think there is still scope to further intensify and diversify our trade ties. And in that sense, an important Swiss business delegation will visit Kenya in the first half of the next year to make the most of the available economic potential. And we agreed also today, Mr. President, to develop a double taxation agreement, a very positive sign for the stability of our relations. Today's talks with President Kenyatta focused on the fight against corruption, respect for the rule of law, also on an exchange of experience on healthcare, and as well as regional and global affairs. And I will start with the fight against corruption. Switzerland and Kenya enjoy a close and productive cooperation in the area of fighting corruption. The signing of a memorandum of understanding last year on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters was a milestone, and I'm extremely pleased that Kenya and Switzerland signed today, a few minutes ago, a framework for the return of assets from crime and corruption to Kenya. And this framework will allow Switzerland to return financial assets that have been blocked, for example, from the Anglo leasing case, and to return financial assets to Kenya once the judicial proceedings come to an end here. And the signature of this framework agreement is a highlight in Switzerland and Kenya's long-standing cooperation in the fight against corruption. As you know, Switzerland has successfully returned illegal assets to a number of countries in the past, one of the best-known cases being Nigeria. And we have an history and a policy of freezing and returning stolen assets, and we need partners like Kenya in order to do this. It is also through partnership that agreements can be reached on how best to return these assets in a way that benefits the people of the country concerned. The second point was also an exchange of experience in healthcare, and we discussed together the Kenyan government's plan to expand public health care in this sector in particular, which is so important for society and the economy, and offer also a great potential to increase cooperation and to increase also contacts between our countries. And while Switzerland has a lot of know-how and experience in these areas, and I think the visit of this Swiss business delegation next year at the beginning of the next year will also take those issues and healthcare in account. And about the regional and global issues, third point, it was another important aspect of our talks. And I wanted here to underline that Kenya has been hosting big numbers of refugees for decades, which we acknowledge, and I want to warmly thank Kenya and the Kenyan population for the very strong engagement in those issues and for the hospitality for the refugees, particularly in the north of Kenya. And I told you, Mr. President, it is not only a Kenyan issue, it is not only a regional issue, but it's also a global issue for the international community. And that's why I'm really happy to have this occasion to visit Kakuma tomorrow and to underline the very important job work Kenya is doing there. You are not alone. We are also beside you and with you to manage these issues. And Switzerland also contributes substantially to support Kenya and other countries in the Horn of Africa to deal with this situation. We have also a long humanitarian tradition, like Kenya, and we work also successfully with the Kenya Red Cross Society, especially, like I mentioned before, in the north of Kenya. So, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, at a time when the multilateral system is put under high pressure, Switzerland strongly believes in international cooperation, in respect for international law, and the culture of dialogue. And Switzerland much appreciates the leading role of Kenya. Kenya is playing in the UN, and we value our long-standing friendship with Kenya, and we look forward to an even closer partnership based on mutual trust and a shared vision for the future. And I hope, Mr. President, it will be possible to welcome you to Switzerland very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to once again start with a word of welcome to you, Your Excellency, and your delegation, on an understanding that our friendship with the people of the Swiss Confederation is long and has endured, and our friendship is one, as you've stated clearly, Mr. President, that dates back to our independence and has grown only stronger in the half-century or so since. So it is a pleasure then to say karibu to those who are visiting us for the first time, and then say that our common interests like security and international cooperation are as relevant these days as they were many decades ago when the Swiss assisted us to build Utali College. So there is a special pleasure in meeting to think through our options for defending and advancing our partnership. There are a number of Swiss initiatives in Kenya. Through the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, Switzerland is encouraging better resource management in our arid and semi-arid regions. Our partnership is enabling greater access to water, pasture, and strengthening service delivery in all ASAL areas. And partnerships such as these are important in ensuring that we lift our people out of poverty while delivering development and prosperity that leaves nobody behind. Let me also highlight the fact that the Swiss have contributed to the attainment of quality and affordable health services in Kenya. The Novartis Access Program, just to single out one initiative for praise, complements our prevention, diagnosis and management of non-communicable diseases, among them diabetes, cancer, and hypertension, that affect the most productive of our people. And we ought to be clear that the work we are doing together to transform our health system and to bring health care to every Kenyan is warmly appreciated by all Kenyans. Ladies and gentlemen, again, as the President has mentioned, the last few months have seen a new intensity in the fight against corruption in Kenya. And we have made it very clear that corruption cannot and will not be tolerated. And the reasons could not be clearer. Corruption directly threatens Kenya's future, as it denies our children the education they deserve, it denies Kenyans the public goods that their hard work has earned them, and it also degrades the quality of our government, as well as erodes investor confidence. I'm pleased, therefore, that after successful negotiations with our partners from Switzerland, We have just agreed upon a framework for the return of assets from corruption and crime in Kenya. The framework outlines our commitment and action plan for recovering the proceeds of crime and corruption, and it will ensure that illegally acquired wealth held outside our country is repatriated to benefit the Kenyan people. The agreement also gives our investigative and prosecutorial bodies new instruments in the fight and lends that fight against corruption new impetus, and for that we are grateful. We look forward, and I think it is fair to say, to returning hard-earned Kenyan wealth to Kenya, where it can be put to work for the good of our country and our people, where it belongs. I take the opportunity to thank Switzerland for its commitment. Asset recovery deters corruption and sends the unequivocal message that corruption does not pay, and that Switzerland has committed. It shows that our friends and partners are as committed to the fight against corruption as we are. So let me just say, it only remains to thank all those who have worked long and hard to prepare this agreement, and we look forward to even closer friendship between our two countries. I also take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. President, also for your commitment to humanitarianism. We in Kenya, from the time of our independence, have always played host to thousands upon thousands of refugees who have fled persecution in their countries, and I'm happy that tomorrow you will be able to visit Kakuma. We thank you for your show of support to Kenya, and ours is to say that we will continue to remain committed to giving support and aid to those who are in need, and we join and follow the long Swiss tradition of offering that generosity. And we are also grateful for the support that you give, because as you've correctly stated, this is not a Kenyan problem, this is not a regional problem, this is a global problem that requires all nations to work together to ensure that these people are not only looked after, but at the end of the day are able to return to their respective homes better equipped to start handling their own affairs in their own countries. I also took the opportunity during our deliberation to invite His Excellency to the Blue Economy Conference that we are co-hosting with Canada towards the end of this year, and we hope that you will be able to find time to join us as we work together to develop this resource for the benefit of mankind. We also, as I said, have had the opportunity to discuss, as he has said, that we are going to work on double taxation agreements so that we can create an environment where small and medium enterprises especially are able to have an environment in which they can thrive and work, and hopefully with such signing in the near future, this will create an environment that will attract new investment that has the potential of creating jobs as well as creating wealth and prosperity for our two peoples and our two countries. So, Mr. President, like I said, it is a great pleasure to have you with us, but most importantly, we have also today, as the Kenyan government, taken a stand that by October of this year, we shall be opening our embassy in Switzerland, Bern, by October of this year. And I believe that opening of that embassy will not only improve and facilitate our people-to-people contact, but will also enable more tourists from Switzerland to easier travel to Kenya, as well as establish a deepening of cultural and diplomatic ties between our two countries. So, Mr. President, it is a great honor to have you, and we hope that you will enjoy your time with us, and we look forward to welcoming you back at some time in the near future. Welcome, and I look forward also to visiting you in Switzerland in the coming months. Thank you very much. you. I don't think we have anything else to say, do we? We have said all that needs to be said.
I maybe just want to thank you very much for the commitment for the embassy in Bern. It's a very strong sign to Switzerland and to our firms also for the stability of our relations. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Thank you.